Good evening, everyone. Just wanted to really quickly do a little bit of a dive into the latest cinematic that Blizzard has released for Shadowlands. This is the kind of the introduction to the second Covenant that they're opening up for us. Last week we got a good look at Bastion, and we got a great look at two characters that Warcraft fans know inside and out, and that's Uther the Lightbringer and Arthas Menethil, aka the Lich King. This week is a little different. So, everyone that's a fan of the game knows who Uther is, right? Everyone knows who Arthas is. They're synonymous, especially Arthas. They're almost synonymous with Warcraft. Um, just about everyone that's played the game, whether it's World of Warcraft or any of the three RPGs and their expansions back in the 90s and early 2000s, Arthas is the first name that comes to mind when you think Warcraft. This week, we get a good look at Maldraxxus, the second of the four covenants that we're going to be introduced to. And a character that a lot of Warcraft fans know, but more don't know that much about. And that's Draka. So Draka is Thrall's mother, wife of Durotan. She is the matriarch and warrior of the Frostwolf clan. She came through the Dark Portal onto Azeroth. The Frostwolves were exiled by Gul'dan during the First War, and during that exile, a group of assassins caught up with them, killed Draka, killed Durotan, and baby Thrall was hidden, and they overlooked him, and we all know the story of Thrall and what he grows up to become. We find out in this cinematic just exactly what happens to Draka after she dies. So the first war is roughly 34, 35 years before, prior to where we are now in the timeline. Going into Shadowlands, I think if I did my math correctly, it's about 34 to 35 years after the first war. So she has been dead for 34 to 35 years. Now, again, like I mentioned last week, when we got to look at the Bastion trailer, time can work a little differently in the Shadowlands. So this could have felt like a couple of years to her, could have felt like 10,000 years to her. We have no idea. But in our time, it's only been about 35 years since she died. And we find out that when she died, her soul was taken ferried to the Shadowlands, and she was placed in the Maldraxxus Covenant. Now, Maldraxxus is different. Maldraxxus is the army. It's the first line of defense of the Shadowlands. It's comprised of 5 houses. Draka gets assigned to the House of Eyes, who are basically the information network. They seem to be a group of rogues, dead rogues. Because she makes the comment in this cinematic that it was very difficult and weird for her to go from a warrior in life to basically a rogue in death. But eventually she came to love it and embrace it. So, the first question that popped into my mind when I find out a little bit more about Maldraxxus is, okay, this is the realm of the dead. This is the afterlife. Why do they need an army? Why do they need to defend themselves? What could possibly want to invade the realm of the dead? And then, you kind of think about it a little bit more, and you know who the protagonist is for Shadowlands, and it's the jailer. And I'm kind of guessing and thinking that his ultimate plan is going to try to capture or recapture all of the Shadowlands, because he understands just how powerful trillions of souls can be. So anyway, we get to see Draka go from warrior to rogue, and we see a couple little things, get a couple little tidbits in the beginning of this cinematic. First, we see that there's some strong parallels and outright borrowing from other cinematics of expansions past, noticeably Legion. There was a cinematic that Blizzard did for basically just telling the story and getting you up to speed on demon hunters and what demon hunters have to go through, and just what drives them. And it's just a quick story of a young night elf that became a demon hunter, and then Illidan leading them on one of their first missions onto a Legion world and wrecking the place. You see that world, and it's basically, it looks like a big temple, and they go in and they kill a pit lord. There's a scene that's it's basically the exact same building temple that Illidan takes his demon hunters into to kill that pit lord. We see Draka and her master, the leader of the House of Eyes, spying on that same building. So that's like a whoa, what is this? Because last week, if you'll remember, Bastion, one of the first rules of the Bastion Covenant is basically if you want to become an aspirant, you have to purge yourself of every memory of your mortal life. You can't remember who you are. You cannot interfere at all. Remember, they had to wait till Arthas died before they could go in and claim his soul to chuck him into the maw. They couldn't just go down and take care of him right then and there. They had to wait. They could not interfere in mortal affairs on the mortal plane. Maldraxxus doesn't seem to operate by those same rules, because you see these two cats here, Draka and her master of the House of Eyes, spying on a Legion homeworld, or one of the Legion worlds. So we also see early on in this cinematic that one of the 5 houses of Maldraxxus has already fallen. They've been betrayed, they've been openly attacked, subtly attacked, something, and they're gone. So 5 houses is now 4. When Draka gets sent on an errand by her master, she gets ambushed. And before she gets ambushed, she sees that her base of operations for the House of Eyes is destroyed, and it falls from the sky. So there's a lot of parallels between what we've seen, especially in Legion and Wrath of the Lich King and Vanilla WoW, between the Shadowlands, Maldraxxus, and what we've already seen. Noticeably, and I'll go back to this scene in just a second, but I wanted to show you. This is such a bad way to watch a cinematic. So, this is not a reaction. I've already seen this multiple times. But I wanted to show you what the House of Eyes base of operations looks like. And that's it. Let me find a... There we go. There we go. That looks a lot like Naxxramas, right? I mean, it's a floating necropolis. Like Acaris, the home of the Ebon Blade, and especially Naxxramas. And, it's telling. It's obvious that that's what Naxxramas was based on. Now remember, the Shadowlands and Maldraxxus have existed for countless eons, right? They predate Naxxramas and the events that we know on Azeroth by who knows how many millennia. But even the formation and the division in the Shadowlands and in Maldraxxus, Azeroth and Naxxramas and Icecrown Citadel mirror these entities. Like, for example, I mentioned earlier, there's 5 houses in Maldraxxus. There's the House of Eyes, which Draka belongs to at this point in time. They're the spies. There's the House of Plagues. There's the House of the Chosen. There's the House of Constructs. There's the House of Rituals. Now, the House of Plagues, there's a Plague Quarter and a Plague Wing in both Nax and ICC. There's a House of Constructs in Naxxramas. We see Constructs in ICC. The House of Rituals, again, Maldraxxus is the birthplace of necromancy. The Burning Legion created what became the Scourge on Azeroth, thousands and thousands of years before the Third War, and the necromantic plague destroyed Lordaeron. That was created by the Burning Legion. Again, lending credit or credence to the fact that the Jailer and Sargeras are on the same side. The Jailer recruited Sargeras, so the Burning Legion was doing a lot of the dirty work for the Jailer. There's too many ties. You've got the Tower of Torghast Tower, which is a direct mirroring of Icecrown Citadel. You've got the the weapon that the Burning Legion wanted to create to help conquer Azeroth, the Lich King, using their Zul, broke away and ended up creating and controlling the Scourge, which the Burning Legion created. So it's, there's a lot of tie-ins, a lot of tie-ins. Um, and then you've got, again, going back to the beginning of this cinematic, you've got the House of Eyes spying on a Legion world. So one of the questions that popped into my head was, okay, is that why the House of Eyes fell? So in this cinematic, you see the destruction of this base, and it's falling from the sky. So that just in the first, 2 minutes of the cinematic, two houses are gone. So there's three left, and it looks like the House of the Chosen, which Draka eventually joins and becomes a baroness of, along with Lady Vosh from Serpent Shrine Cavern, um, is like the last good house within Maldraxxus left standing. The House of Constructs and apparently the House of Rituals are the bad guys, and they're being controlled, in my belief, by the Jailer. They're part of the Jailer's plan to take out Maldraxxus, or the elements of Maldraxxus that could potentially stop him. Because again, why was the House of Eyes spying on the Legion world? Were they about to stumble upon, or were they on the trail to, figuring out the connection between Sargeras and the Jailer, and blow that plan wide open? Great questions, questions I do not have the answer to. So hopefully we will get answers to those questions as we progress through the Shadowlands. Um, it's very, very interesting. Like, they're tying it in, or seemingly tying it in very well. I mean, the threads are there, right, and they're being woven together masterfully, like things that we would have put together, and two and two is like, okay, they are obviously connected. They're now being connected, and it's making sense, which is the beauty of storytelling. So we're going to see. It looks like it's going to be one house left against two houses in a civil war for Maldraxxus. We're going to see more notable players show up in the Maldraxxus story campaign. Alexandros Morgraine is a Baron. He was a paladin, a wielder of the Ashbringer. We've got Lady Vosh, who is in Maldraxxus. We have Kil'Thuzad, who is in Maldraxxus. I do not trust that guy at all. I think he's been working for the jailer the entire time, which again is just a testament to how dark and powerful he is, because he was just a human mage and started dabbling in what warlocks do and necromancy, and he got ousted, and he found Naxxramas, and he went north into Northrend and found Naxxramas, and somehow got connected to the Jailer. So yeah, he's been a player for a long, long time, and I do not trust him. I think he's going to be a major thorn in our sides going through this story of not only Maldraxxus but of Shadowlands as well. Another good poll parallel from, I just reminded myself, to ICC and Shadowlands is the Sand Lane. The undead, the vampiric blood elves that fell. They had an entire wing in ICC, and also they're directly connected to Rivendreth, or what appears. There's definitely a connection there. The theme and the look of them and what they do is very, very, very heavily weighted toward Rivendreth. So Kel'Thuzad, he helped build and construct Naxxramas, and the Jailer through Arthas as the Lich King built ICC. So they were pulling heavily from what they knew of the Shadowlands and Maldraxxus, and what they wanted the Shadowlands to become again, as they laid siege and laid their plans bare for the conquering of Azeroth. So again, and then on the outside you've got the Void. Like, all of these cats are still, at the end of the day, they're trying to prepare for the inevitable war against the Void. Sargeras, that's in the forefront of his mind. It's got to be the Jailer too, right? So I'm guessing. I don't think they're good guys per se, but Azeroth is just a tool. What we're doing and the utilization and the reclaiming and the reconquering of the Shadowlands and what they're trying to do to Azeroth and the Titan that is Azeroth, that's all part of their plan to try and stop the void, which is ultimately where we're going to go. But anyway, please let me know. Leave me comments and suggestions, good and bad, in the comments below. Please do not forget to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and also follow and subscribe to my Twitch channel as well. I'll leave the links for Twitch and Twitter below when you're watching this on YouTube. So anyway, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. If you haven't seen it yet, go back and rewatch the trailer, or go back and watch it again and see what else we all missed, and see if you pick up anything. So they're doing a great job with these cinematics. I can't wait to see the one for Rivendreth and the one for Ardenweald. Should be getting those in the next couple of weeks. And then we've got the launch of the game. Probably we'll have the pre-patch stuff in about 2-3 weeks, hopefully, if all goes well. So anyway, you guys have a good, nice, long weekend. Enjoy Labor Day. And I will see you later on. Stay safe. Be cool. Take care.